Hi, my name is Kachiromesi Bliss Chivase, founder and director of a foundation called Blissful Smiles Foundation. I'm an entrepreneur, certified life coach, author, mentor, gender-based violence and mental health activist, and by profession, I'm an engineering manager.
Betrayal Chronicles. Journey into the dark side of trust.
It all started when I was still an innocent child. I grew up without a biological dad, but by the age of 8, I started realizing that there was a new man in my mom's life, and he became my stepdad. He was great, and he was actually a father figure that I always wanted. He used to help me do my homework, tell time, tie my tie, and basically do the daily duties. And I remember on weekends we used to ride bicycles together, and it was great. I loved it. But unfortunately, because of the background from where I grew up in the outskirts of Soweto. So my mom had to work double shifts to make ends meet, as well as my stepdad. And what they did is they would take shifts. My dad would be home when my mom was at work, and my mom would be at work. My mom would be at home when my stepdad was at work. And it worked perfectly initially, until one morning, actually, I was woken up by an uneasy feeling. And when I woke up, I realized that my stepdad was actually trying to molest me. He was touching me, and he ended up actually inserting his genitals inside my private parts. And as a child at the age of 8, it was so painful, and I did not understand what was happening. I remember I had to actually go out of the room to go to the bathroom, and I felt like everyone was looking at me and seeing what had happened. It was a confusing moment because he had built a very good relationship with me initially. He used to protect me. I mean, when boys used to write letters to me in primary school, he used to make jokes of, no, they need to come to me first, you're my baby girl. And I was literally a daddy's girl. I mean, I used to sit on daddy's lap, because I trusted him. When he comes back from work, he used to bring me sweets and all the goodies, and I really enjoyed his company. But unfortunately, at that early morning, something started changing. He started doing things that I was not familiar with, and it became a routine. And unfortunately, I couldn't open up to anyone because I was scared. Not only that he would do something to me, but I was scared of losing him because I had built this trust. I loved him so much as my dad. And for me, it was more of, I don't want to lose someone so dearly in my life because I knew nothing else. There was nothing to compare to. But when he did that, it actually opened up doors to more perpetrators. So the early morning routine of him touching me and molesting me and actually raping me continued for a while until I was around the age of 10. He used to tell me that it's daddy's little secret and we cannot tell anyone else. And unfortunately, because I did really not understand what was happening, I kept it to myself. I did not tell my mom nor my friends. And one would say, but then how did you feel? I must say I was feeling very conflicted because I did not know whether what he was doing was wrong, but also I could feel that there's something that's not right with what he was doing at the same time. But also because I loved him, I had this bond with him, and whatever he was doing to me, it was like I got used to it. I got accustomed to him doing it, and sometimes when he didn't do it, I felt as if there was something wrong that I did, or he hated me, or I wanted him to continue doing what he was doing as much as it was actually bad for me, and he was abusing me. I remember when I was 10 years of age, he didn't come back from work and he disappeared without a trace, and I did not understand why. And that made me feel very sad. I cried myself to sleep, and not because I wanted him to do the things he was doing to me, but because I had a relationship with him and I felt like I lost someone I actually looked up to and someone who used to take care of me so much. So when he disappeared, it opened up doors to more perpetrators because I felt like I had no one else to protect me. And I remember I was raped by the age of 10 again. by someone who was the landlord's son. So one day I was coming back from school, and my mom was at work and my stepdad was no longer staying with us. So when I came back from school and I went to the room, I found him sitting. We used to stay in a communal house. So when I came back from home, I found him in my mother's, or in our room, watching porn. And he started asking me if I understood what porn was, and made me watch it. And it was a very uncomfortable moment. And I remember when I was trying to change, because our room was actually divided by a curtain. We didn't have like separate rooms, so it was just divided by curtains. So I was changing in the other section of the room when he actually came and threw me on the bed and then started raping me then. And that was the first time I actually felt that this was wrong, because he told me, you can't tell this to anyone. And how he did it is he asked me if I've ever tried it before and if I know what it is. And I told him that I did not know what it is, but he kept on doing it. And he did say to me that I can't tell anyone about it. And that's when I realized that what he was doing was actually not supposed to happen at that particular age. And in that moment, I started getting addicted to porn. Everything that has happened in my life, I never told my mom or anyone close to me. I kept it to myself. I found a way of coping. But as I grew as well, I came across situations where someone would attempt to rape me again. And I started having flashbacks as well, where it was as if I was raped before the age of 8 by someone else different, and I didn't actually know what had happened. But I remember when I was sitting, sometimes I would have flashbacks, and I would have this weird feeling of orgasm, but it was disgusting, and I didn't understand what was happening. But I would have pictures in my mind of what had happened when one time I was coming back from school and someone just grabbed me and they started raping me then. I remember the face of the person as well, and that haunted me for a while. And I did not understand what was happening to me until I actually grew older and seek therapy. But in my high school years as well, I actually had a boyfriend whom actually was forcing me to have sexual intercourse with them. I trusted them as well. And even in that, when I didn't want to, they would force me or try and make me do things that I didn't want to do. But I did not have that sense of power and self-worth as well. So I'd give in to what other people wanted from me, and I would give it to them. And I mentioned the fact that I was addicted to porn. So that actually made me want to become a prostitute. So I wanted to actually finish school, go into finish matric, and then actually go to Pretoria, because I had heard that in Pretoria people sell bodies. I wanted to move to Pretoria and sell my body there. But something in me changed when I was around grade 10, grade 11. I started finding myself, and I started realizing that I can actually take my power back. I can actually become a different person, and I shouldn't allow my past to define me. So when I finished matric, and then I went into varsity and I started studying and started seeing other people flourishing in the academic world, and also seeing people around Pretoria, because I was studying in Pretoria, that did what I had always wanted to do, which is prostitution. Seeing their lives, I realized that that's not actually what I wanted for myself. Through studying, I realized that there's actually more into life than just me giving myself out and allowing myself to be used. Basically, I decided to take my power back through studying and empowering myself as well. So I finished my diploma and finished my degree, got into the corporate world, and realized that also my life doesn't end only in being employed. I have to make something of myself. That's when I started to write my story and to heal as well. So what I did is I started seeing a professional, a psychiatrist, who helped me through my healing journey and facing my trauma and trying to heal my inner child and healing the trauma that I've been through. And while I was in the process of healing as well, I realized that or I came to the realization that I actually had some psychological effects from the abuse, and that's when I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, depression, and borderline personality. And all these things were actually as a result of the coping mechanisms that I used to use as a child when I was being abused. And remember, I mentioned that I had never told this to anyone, including my mom. And the unfortunate part, my family, including my mom, had to find out recently in the year of 2018 what had happened to me. And you can imagine, as a family, realizing that that happened and they did not know. You can imagine the, that thing of saying we should have protected her, but we didn't. But I do not blame them, because I did not tell them, and I did not even show them what I was going through. And it was done by people they trusted and I trusted too, and never thought they would actually betray me or take that innocence from me. And with the experiences that I've been through, I decided to share my story, and also write my story in a book, The Untold Stories of She. They were untold because I never told them to anyone, and I decided to reveal the stories now. So the book is not written by me as a victim, but as someone who's saying, I'm taking my power back. I am a survivor, and I will keep on keeping on. So I actually wrote a second book, which will be released soon, called Unveiling the Shadows of Mental Health, just outlining the mental health issues that I go through each and every day. It's a battle. As much as I'm on medication, the medication as well takes a toll on me, because antidepressants are not an easy thing to be on. But it's an encouragement to those who might be going through the same thing, to say, you can heal, you need to seek professional help, and you need to you owe it to yourself to forgive yourself. And also, you don't have to blame yourself for what has happened to you when you were still vulnerable. As a child, you were supposed to be protected and not the other way around. And unfortunately, sometimes the people that are supposed to protect us are the people that betray us and also take that innocence away from us. So what I will say to parents is that have that open communication system in your household, where you actually just check in with your kids, check if they're okay, and don't do it in a way where you make them feel like you're gonna punish them if they say something. Set a mood where the kids can be free and also be able to be your friend in a way, and be able to tell you the things that they are going through. It doesn't have to be the fact that they are only sharing the struggles, but they need to also share with you the good times. Check in on them. How was school? Try and be interested in what they do, and they will open up to you as well. With all that I've been through, I've actually taken my power back by being everything and anything that I want to be. Being an author, being a life coach, engineering and health sciences graduate, and also doing other things like philanthropy and entrepreneurship. I would just want to say to someone who have been through the same thing, or who might be experiencing the same thing, it's not the end of the road for you. You don't have to take your life. You can seek professional help and you can triumph. Your life is worth living, and you can become a better version of yourself. And do not blame yourself for things you did not have control over. If someone has violated you, it was not your fault. And you couldn't protect yourself as a child because you were supposed to be protected instead. And I would say that to everyone out there, do not just trust anyone and everyone. I'm not saying that live in fear, but make sure that you are aware of your environment. Make sure that you protect yourself and you empower yourself and become the best version of yourself. As much as you might have gone through something, you are not your trauma, and you can take your power back.
Betrayal Chronicles. Journey into the dark side of trust.